Hi everyone, welcome to a short tutorial on how to build on Linea with Dune API. My name's Jackie, and the goal of this short session today is to enable you to leverage the Dune API to start building. Before we dive into any code, I want to just touch on this concept of what is Dune API. So you might have known Dune as Dune Analytics, where you might see a lot of trending dashboard from Dune, but what kind of Dune API offerings do we have? So you can think about it in two categories. One is the domain-specific API. So these endpoints are ready to be consumed. There is no SQL involved or needed. There's documentations with each of this endpoint, and as soon as you call that endpoint, you just fetch the data defined by the API. And then there is a second group we're calling the core API. So this set of API is powered by the traditional Dune SQL queries that you see on dashboards. And the concept of this core API is that you can turn any Dune query into an API endpoint, and then you can start consuming from there. So it does require you to have some SQL knowledge, but regardless, either with the domain-specific API or the core API, you will be able to start building pretty fast. And today we're gonna demo how to build with Dune API with a demo frame, which allows you to check your Linea voyage points. Before we dive into the code repository, the sample code with building this frame with Dune API, let's just double click on the concept of domain-specific API and the core API with some example. So when we talk about a domain-specific API, it looks like this. So it has an actual path, and then you're able to just input your key. Then you can make a quick call. So I'm actually going to grab my key right now. Okay, so I'm inputting my key, and then I'm just going to do a simple limit and then click send. As you can see, then as promised by this endpoint, I'll get the Linea XMP balance for wallet along with some Farcaster social statistics and on-chain behavior metrics, right? So I can see that for this particular wallet, I have some on-chain transactions connected, and then I have some XNLP connected with this wallet. And in terms of Farcaster, this particular wallet hasn't been super active on Farcaster. So it is really fast, right? It's like milliseconds return. And then, as I was saying, there is detailed documentation for the columns and how do you leverage things like filter, pagination, sort by to manipulate the data from this kind of endpoints, right? So then moving on to what we were calling the second group, the core API offering. So the whole concept of the core API is that it's powered directly by Dune queries. As in, when you have a Dune query like this, I can quickly turn into an API endpoint by just referring the query ID, and then I can fetch the latest results. And then if I really need fresh results, I just make sure to schedule it so that whenever I actually fetch the results shown, it's fresh. So what do I mean by this? We can do a quick demo of this. So here I have set up a Postman example, and then the query ID here is the query ID that I was just showing you. And then we're literally trying to do the same thing where we're going to just limit 10, so show only 10 rows from this particular query result. So I will click send, and then as you can see, voila, again, I get the results of the wallet and then of the XLP for this wallet, as well as a list of other social and on-chain behavior metrics. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. There's two main categories listed on the intro page on our API. There is the core API, which you can fetch the query results from any query as long as you refer to the query ID. And then there is other category of domain-specific API where we curate a list of endpoints for you already. So in this example, we have the Linea XLP balance for a particular wallet endpoint, but we also have a bunch of other ones such as the Dune Eigenlayer API, as well as Farcaster API. So without knowing SQL, you can just get started immediately. All right, so without further ado, next up we'll start talking about the demo repo. Okay, so this is the repo. Let's get a taste of what this frame does. I've casted it here recently. First off, let's input a wallet. I'm just going to pick a wallet that actually has some Linea XLP, and then I will come here and paste it over. I will get the wallet XLP here. Awesome. So you can see the LXP associated with this wallet is 2,481. And here is this person's Farcaster name. Oh wow, I got lucky. So this is a Farcaster star, and the top engagers are these people. And Vito Forca is really active on Zora, Food, and Farcaster. And presumably she has been on chain for more than 1,000 days and performed more than 5,000 on-chain transactions and has deployed 23 contracts. Yeah. So let me see if I'm lucky. Let's surprise me. All right. So I've got Dembeer. Then I can see all the social and on-chain activity associated with Dembeer. Okay, this is what the Dune Linea frame does. So let's go back to the code itself. Okay, so this frame is built with the Frog framework. Really wonderful framework. Makes everything super easy. And to get started, you literally just follow the installation here listed, and then you click get started. They have this super simple bootstrap command that you can like init, and then you've got the project ready. And then it even suggests you to, if you need to, you can just directly deploy onto Vercel. So really easy. I'm going to link a tutorial about frame and building frame with Frog because somebody else already done a great job on that. I'm not going to go on detail. So for today's purpose, I'm going to just point out within the code how is Dune API being integrated and what are the things that you should look out for when you build a frame with Dune API. So let's just go to the repo. So this is a repo. If you want to run it, feel free to git clone the repo. And then all you need to do after running pnpm install is that for me, I'm using pnpm, so I'm running the pnpm dev. Literally, the Frog framework makes it super simple, deploys to this particular local host, and they have a dev tooling. Super thankful for that you can really easily see what is going on. So as you can see, this is the dev tooling, which enables me to see what my frame does. I've connected to my Farcaster account. Yeah, and if you click on the upper right, it will have a QR code to allow you to connect and start developing. So I don't have any LXP associated with my Farcaster connected wallet. No problem. I'm gonna just run the regular surprise me button to discover somebody else with some fun stats and some XLP balance associated. And so this is how you can, debug and see what's happening as you develop the frame. So coming back to the code itself, when you do the init project part with Frog, it would come with the index. And then here on the frame, I have 3 buttons, right? And one of the button, as you can see here, is actually, so let me go back. So one of the button is to input wallet, and then when I click at that button, I want it to collect the address from the user. So to that end, I actually have 2 frames in this one frame. So you can see each frame will have its own section, have its own path, and then you can just define the code, the button, the rendering for that particular action. Not going to go too much into detail of that, but essentially when you click on the button, right, it communicates with the Dune API, right? So if you click check my status where, generate a random one, then it will go into a function a get XLP function, which then is powered by this dune.ts file. So in this part, we just are calling the Dune API as we were just doing it, whether from the docs Swagger page or from the Postman. It's very similar. We just give the URL path. And then here, because we know a specific FID or the user ID that's connected to this particular frame, right? Then we just pass on this FID given to us by the verified frame. And then we can we're fetching the XLP. And then once we're finished, and then we will parse the response, and then we will serve that to the front end. So similarly, when we're doing this get XLP by wallet, so input a wallet address, and then you fetch the stats, and then you similarly parse it. So I would say when you use the Dune API, make sure to leverage on advanced features such as the filters, sort by, limit. It really will help you to quickly fetch the results that you need. As you can see, the important part is really once you understand there are domain-specific API for you to leverage, as well as core API that enable you to customize any query results by turning a SQL query into an endpoint, you are good to go. So one last time with the Dune API, there are two categories of the Dune API. One is the domain-specific API, so they are ready to be consumed, no SQL needed, and they look like this. And then there's a second group of API, core API. So this is a little bit more customizable. You can turn any Dune query into an API endpoint. Like we said, it looks like this. You can fetch the latest results for a particular query ID. All right. So happy building with Dune API. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, want to brainstorm and ideate. Cheers!